What's up, YouTube? Today's Geeky Acrylics video, I'm finally showing you the full process, well, the mostly full process for creating my Mimic sculpt. In case you're not familiar, this is the Mimic from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies. You can see the Mimic in the Firebase Z map and the Outbreak mode. This was a project that spanned over a month from conception to the final project, several hours, not every night, but many nights a week. Just trying to figure out how I was going to do this. This is my first attempt at creating an armature. And honestly, I was really scared to attempt this. I had no idea what I was doing. So you don't see that part of the process in me creating this armature because I did it off camera, just sitting in my room trying to figure out how I was going to make this durable enough to hold the weight of a creature who was very much top heavy by design. And I really just wanted to set myself up for success. I know, like, when you're trying new things, it's totally okay to, actually not have a successful, piece, but given all the time I knew I was going to be putting into this, I just really wanted it to be successful. I didn't want the armature to fail and not be strong enough and it collapse in the oven when I bake it. I just really wanted a successful piece. And, spoiler alert, I'm happy to say this was a success. I hope you stick around for the final picks. The Mimic stands at completion at about 7.5 inches tall with the base. Using the combination of armature wire and aluminum foil, I did mostly a good job at creating a base structure to put my clay on. This is super Sculpted firm. I'm going to link all the materials I used in the description below. But knowing what I know now and how this process works, I would have definitely used a thicker armature wire. And what's really awkward is I actually had thicker wire and I didn't know it. And I'm sorry, I don't know the measurements, like the thickness of the wire. If I find those, I'll link them in the description or the comments or something. But I had two different thicknesses and I didn't know it. I wish I'd used the thicker wire. Then I don't think I would have had any issues with him kind of sinking. You'll see the Mimic in his natural form, he's generally looking like he's standing on his tippy toes. So he's got these it looks like they're really large feet and he's just standing on his toes. But I tried to do that here, but as he became more and more top heavy, I did start to notice that he started sinking further and further down. So he's more in this really deep squat by the end, which is kind of funny. I'm not really mad about it. A little disappointed, not mad. What can you do? It was a learning experience, but it looks like my Mimic maybe skipped a few leg days, maybe he is mid squat. Maybe he's working out right now and we just caught him mid squat. But yeah, I was really inspired by the Mimic. One, because I love playing the zombies mode. It's been my favorite since Call of Duty World at War. I just love zombies. But he's a fun character with his jump scares and all that. So, and his textures are just, I don't know, really, it just looked like it would be something fun to sculpt. And it was. Here you see for the base, I wanted to create a whole scene. So I'm laying down the super Sculpted firm with a little bit of bacon bond on the base to make sure that the clay adheres. If you just stick the clay on top of that wooden base, you're not going to get a good solid base. It's not going to stick well. And I'll link my tutorial for the uses of bacon bond below. It's a really great thing to have when you're sculpting and using, especially you're working on big projects like this or trying to adhere clay to wood or plastic surfaces. I use it a lot in my custom sculpted Funkos as well. But for the base, I want to create a scene, a snowy scene, maybe this guy was jumping out at me on the snowy alpine map on Outbreak. And I wanted the crystals to be like the dark aether crystals to be there and giving off that kind of cool purple glow. So yeah, I was just trying to create a whole like scene, a whole mood with this guy. Honestly, I am working on a second sculpture now, which is more of a human form. It's like a human form, but with like devil-like features, like horns and stuff like that. But I can honestly say, like, if you're starting out sculpting and you don't know anything about sculpting or figure drawing, like with the human form and stuff, man, sculpting this mimic, as complex as it looks, was actually way less stressful than it was to actually just sculpt a human form. You would think that something that would be without all that texture and like specific details, like it would be easier, but it's not. I have no experience figure drawing, and it's been a nightmare, but I think I have a devil that I'm mostly happy with and my client is happy with, so that's what matters. Gonna practice figure drawing in the future for sure. I don't know though, when it comes to sculpts, you're probably only gonna see monsters and maybe people in armor. Because again, I like creating textures and I like adding in cool details. You know, when you have a naked human form, you don't really get a lot of those opportunities. I'd love to do something maybe with a lot of cloth, something with a cool uniform. Yeah, I don't know. I just love, there's something, even though it's like stressful sometimes, there's something that's oddly like meditation when you get in and you're sculpting and you're just getting into the details, and I don't know, you're just in the zone. I like to listen to audiobooks or play music and just vibe out with this. This was so much fun. I definitely listened to some of the zombie soundtracks while doing this, and another piece that you'll see on the channel in the near future, I just finished up a custom Zombies, Shadows of Evil, Shadow Man Funko, so that was really cool. Those pictures are on my Instagram and a video on TikTok, but the full video will be coming later. So the head, the head wasn't a big ball of clay, it's mostly a big ball of aluminum foil with just a little bit of clay. I was trying to make it as light as possible, so that's why I kind of built up the lips and added the teeth on top of that. It's not hollowed out. I just really was worried about durability and collapsing and all that stuff. So I did simplify that. The hands were also a unique challenge because he has long, skinny fingers. So I did put a little bit of floral wire in there, and you don't see it, but I created the holes for the floral wire, put a little bacon bond in there, and then attached the fingers. So they're pretty durable, but if I did it again, I would use the thickness of the armature wire that I actually used for the structure of the body itself. So it was even more durable, and then of course an even greater thickness armature wire for the body itself. So yeah, attaching the hands was definitely a process too. The head and the hands probably took me the longest of this piece, but eventually I got it baked. You see here, he's in his super squat position. And I took him outside and spray painted him. Normally I wouldn't spray paint. I would just brush on some primer on my Funkos. But I wasn't too worried about it here. I just gave him a nice quick coat of sprayed primer and started adding on the base layer, which you'll see here. It's an ugly, inaccurate shade of like this like kind of reddish, brownish reddish color. And I knew I wanted to layer it up that way because when you look at the mimic, which is really hard because his body disappears as soon as you kill him, and it's hard to like really get all the details while he's trying to kill you or hug you. But there's a lot of like warm, reddish brown, like earthy tones to him. So I knew I wanted to create a much darker tone than what he actually was. and then kind of dry brush the like lighter, like sandy, like cream colors over top of that. At first I was freaking out, like, this is wrong, this is ugly. But once I started dry brushing the lighter tones, then I relaxed a little bit. I was like, okay, yeah, you did know what you were doing the whole time. And that's something that you can use to like really help define like your textures and stuff in your sculpts and stuff like that, is to just lay down a thin, really fluid layer of like a darker tone, let it dry, and then just dry brush the lighter tones over top of that. And then I usually go in and maybe darken up a few areas and add some highlights and stuff like that. Yeah, so the crystals were a process. Like, I don't fully think I achieved the glowy effect that, you know, I was hoping for, but you definitely see some light to it, some life, I guess. But it's not the main focus. I really want to make sure that I got a lot of color and detail into the mimic itself. You see that, you know, he's got these bloody spikes and all these, like, I don't know what you call them, like tubes, tentacles, I don't really know. Just kind of wrapping all around him. He's pretty gnarly. The spiky bits coming out the top are all toothpicks and like the grill, like skewers. I just like cut them up and put them in as the final step. And yeah, I'm really happy with that. I really love the paint job. It really comes to life once you add the details. You didn't see me sculpting the skull, but he's got that skull on the back of his, like on the back of his shoulders there. That's like impaled on him. And he's got all these like bulgy, like sack things, like underneath, like on his chest, like his like neck and chest are like covered with them. And you don't really get to see that like in the finished piece, but I still took the time to get all that, you know, detail and color and stuff in there. And again, going with the kind of snowy, just layering up my paint, dry brushing some little white highlights. And then I go back and add like a purple glow. So it's just a little bit of purple. It's already pretty transparent, so you just water it down a little bit and just kind of like glaze it over. You can use a glazing medium to just kind of get that purpley glow. Yeah, you can kind of see it in the close-up there, but yeah, I'm really pleased with this sculpt. So here are the final shots of the Mimic sculpt. I hope you enjoyed watching this process as much as I enjoyed creating it. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithms if you love this content, if you want to see more. Subscribe if you haven't already. I do have some other videos lined up, so it shouldn't take this long to get the next video out. I appreciate your patience. Drop any of your questions and stuff like that in the comments below, whether it's about sculptures like this, just painting, Funkos, like whatever. I'll do my best to answer everyone's art questions. Always here to help if I can. Thank you so much, and I hope I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.